So I would say that I'm a pretty big fan of Chance the Rapper, and a big part of that, or I guess maybe not a big part, but definitely like a representative part of that is the album art that he uses for his albums. And I'm talking about mostly his first three, not the Big Day. The Big Day, you can find plenty of videos talking about why people don't like that, and I'm inclined to agree. But his first three albums, 10 Day, followed by Acid Rap, followed by Coloring Book, are really, really cool, I think. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why I think they're so cool. Because not many people have, I think, on the internet. But yeah, so like the first album, 10 Day, has this sort of, all of them have like a little bit of a comic book type aesthetic. And they were done by Brandon, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Brandon Bri- Brial, Brandon Brew, I think. I don't know. I think I've heard it pronounced Brandon Brew. I'll just say Brandon. But Brandon, he and Chance had been like acquaintances, I think, since like before. I mean, certainly since before 10 Day. But I know that the 10 Day album cover is like of Chance kind of looking up sort of at his aspirations, and it's got this sort of comic book type aesthetic with like the name tag Chance the Rapper kind of like right next to him, and then just the big text right above him that says 10 Day, and it just looks really really cool, and it kind of emphasizes that he's like new to the game. He's like he's super young. I think he was 18 at the time, or maybe 19 when 10 Day dropped. Yeah, 19, which is just like absurd. Oh, and I mean, you can kind of see that in the 10 Day. Like if you actually listen through the album 10 Day, it's like it's obviously a sort of beginner's mixtape, and like a lot of his like rhyming schemes and flow and the types of instrumentals that he used, would go on to be refined a lot more. Like a lot of the sampling that's done on 10 Day is like pretty overt, I guess, which I think makes for really good music. I think like Long Time Part 2 is one of my favorite Chance songs. I really, really like 14 400 Minutes. Like Missing You is also great. Like I think it's a really good album, but like, part of, and I think people have mentioned this before, but part of why I think it's a really good mixtape is that like you can see the progression that he would later have like on Acid Rap, which is his most popular album. And like Acid Rap shows him looking forward sort of at the audience, like he's looking up in 10 Day, and then he's looking forward on Acid Rap. And Brendan, the artist, said that the picture that he took of Chance was like at some sort of festival, or like a music festival of some kind, and he was wearing this like cool tie-dye shirt, and the lights were all matching the colors on the tie-dye and stuff, and Chance just kind of looked like he was tripping out on something. And like the whole it's called Acid Rap, the whole album is kind of like drug themed and drug inspired, and like it feels like a really fitting album for that type of record. And like in Acid Rap, there's like sort of a fulfillment of like the aspirations that he had seemed to set out on with 10 Day, which is why he's more so like looking forward, I think. And like the color palette kind of is all these like beautiful purples and pinks, which is like super inspirational, I think, for my type of color palette that I really like going for. I mean, I'm going for like the blue, and I got a pink shirt on right now, but then yeah, you've also got like the Acid Rap and like the Chance like constellation in the sky made out of the stars, just like foretelling that he's like really becoming a big force in the industry. And this again, like this was the album that like really really blew up, and I think people started going back to 10 Day after Chance released Acid Rap, and started seeing like the roots of where he came from. And that kind of, I think that makes both of them better. It kind of creates this like meta narrative, which then gets kind of expanded on the third album, Coloring Book, which is about he took a break. I think 10 Day was released in 2012, and then Acid Rap in 2013, and then he took like a 3 year gap and released Coloring Book in 2016. And apparently and I guess during that time he became a father and kind of rediscovered his Christian faith, I think. And the entire album is very biblically inspired, and it's just like it's really really amazing to see the type of evolution that his character had from being just like this kid who just had like the most conviction in the world towards like becoming this really huge force, I guess, in the industry, a really influential figure who is just like, going crazy and doing drugs and stuff, and then to a more matured, refined type of individual when with Coloring Book, he's still got tons of personality, like on No Problem, he kind of shows off. That's the second track. He kind of shows off that like that he's still got that kind of zany energy, like having fun. Um, and then what kind of got me thinking about all of this is that on the track Angels on Coloring Book, the music video for Angels ends with like a scene of what appears to be Chance in the 10 Day album. He's like looking up at like I think a big building. It's the track is all about like Chicago spirit and stuff. Chance is from Chicago, and he wears his culture on his sleeve, and I think that's really really cool. And just like the kind of callback on Angels, on the track Angels in the music video, which was a single that I think he dropped before he released the Coloring Day or the Coloring Book album, like as kind of a signal to say like, hey, this is like to remind everybody like this is where I came from. I was just like a little kid, and the whole the idea of like angels is like young kids who died and are now angels. And so he's kind of saying, and like one of the lines on angels is too many is there's too many angels on the south side, like south side of Chicago, I think. And he also, the other thing is that Chance knew somebody back when he was like a teenager. One of his best friends was killed, um, and he sings about that in 14 400 minutes also, and it pops up a lot of the time in the rest of his songs. But like, it's just a really really holistic and compelling story being told in all aspects, in like the lyricism, in like the music, the actual like beats being used, the actual music itself, and then in the album art that's kind of used to represent that music is just really really cool, and I really like it. And I guess I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. So yeah, if you're not too deep into the hip hop world, or maybe you've heard of Chance but you just like haven't given him a listen, I would definitely recommend him. I think he has one of the more interesting and followable. That's the other thing that I kind of like about this, is that this is like a very followable story, that like the fact that it's told so cohesively through like all the different elements of like the artwork that he's made is like part of what makes it so fun. Like people like Childish Gambino, who I'm also a huge fan of, like his story is like that he tells in his music and in like the artwork and the films and TV shows that he does and stuff like that is a lot more like, I guess, complex. It feels like you have to put in a lot more effort to understand where he's coming from. You want to like listen to a lot of interviews that he's done. But like with Chance the Rapper, I feel like it's just all there. It's just all in the artwork that he puts out, and it's easy to understand, and it's a compelling story, and it's just a really good way to introduce yourself to an artist who has a really fun and interesting story to tell. And I mean, the music is also fantastic, so that's an extra plus. We don't talk about the big day though.